I could see it happening, so I didn't have to imagine it, what it would be like. So I think for that, I could see it in my eye easily. I didn't even realize the size of the problem. So rather than the size of the market, but the size of the problem, I don't know how distressed a horse gets. Is that a bad thing to be distressed or not? And so for me, that was just the question that was left in my mind. And the only other one is, you know, how much does it cost to make a prototype when it comes to your source funding?
Well, it is a big problem. Like I said, stressed horses are dangerous horses because they can pack a punch if they kick or freak out. And if they try to bolt, you've got no hope of holding on. And imagine that contained in a metal box, essentially. So it's not good. I have yet to work that out with Sasha for the basic prototype, but I really want to get that one working just to confirm if they will tolerate it. Theory suggests they will, but I probably couldn't give you an actual price for the basic one, sorry.
No, that's great. Thanks so much.
Awesome. So which of our judges hasn't given Jess some feedback? Sasha.
So everyone's given feedback. Ashley's just about to hop in. I think she did though. Ashley, did you manage to see that?
She's put a little comment in there and she's just asked me whether the concern for the horse's well-being and concern over their behaviour will be enough to get customers. Absolutely. People are very big on the welfare of their horse, and they're essentially like the human baby, but fur baby is what we call them. So there's definitely enough interest to get them.
Wonderful. Right. Okay. All right. So hopefully the technical issues have stopping.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I'm in. I'm sorry. Finally, I was like just sitting there so frustrated. I'm like, yes, I've seen this. I just asked that question and gave that feedback. But yeah, it was an awesome pitch, and I absolutely love horses. So it's really cool to see this kind of solution for them. And I guess I just asked that question because yeah, a lot of people, like, you know, they think about the animal welfare in terms of dollar value, and just whether that's applicable to this, I thought was really interesting market kind of question, which you answered really well.
Thanks.
But yeah, oh my god, it's so good to be back in here. I felt so powerless. Okay, awesome. Yeah, that's
Sorry about that before.
No worries.
Wonderful. That was really good, Jessica. I think that's a huge problem that you're solving there, and we really want to hear more from you as we go. Don't let this be the only time we hear from you. We'd love to hear more from you, not just when we have a pitch night, but you know, share your story, because we're all here to support you as well as a loan member. Okay, so last time we were last pitch night, our winner was Harry. So Harry, tell us about the pitch night last time, but more so tell us about how you've been going since. Actually, first of all, quickly introduce yourself and company.
Thanks, Nick. Don't know if my screen's coming up there, but thanks for having us back. It's obviously very nice to be welcomed back, and then obviously I know what the pitch startups are going through tonight, and I wish them all the best of luck. Obviously, last time we came in as eMotion Concepts, we've had a slight rebrand to EMOS, which is our electric mobility solutions. Since the pitch, we really have gone ahead in leaps and bounds based on the exposure to our concept and obviously the exposure to our vehicles. You know, basically the validation from the judges and the people that gave us very positive feedback enabled us to take that next stage. We have had substantial orders in our vehicles, but more predominantly we have had a chance to focus on our concept, and that was obviously the DTS model, which is the end-to-end micro logistics solution, and we are sort of forming partnerships as we speak to get this launched to market. So we've had really good sort of contact and feedback from retailers that are very much interested in this model, and it's pretty much a shared hyper-local delivery service, and that's including Logan businesses, which I think is very exciting. Basically, we are finalising the platform with a developer, and once we do have that finalised, we'll be going to market. So if people want to sort of keep across what we're doing, obviously emos.com.au is pretty much where you'll find us. And obviously once we are launching, you'll see it across our digitals. But really thankful to Innovate Logan for giving us the opportunity to obviously present at the pitch. And obviously Sasha, Justin, Nick, and Paulette have been very good in connecting us with the right people of which we can explore partnerships with. And I think just the pitch alone really accelerated our growth and our sort of time to really take our concept to the next level. So again, thank you for having us. Obviously, we'll definitely have some more to tell over the next sort of course of these pitches.
So from that too, Harry, make sure you put your website in the chats there. Everybody else as well, put your website, share yourselves, share what you're doing with everybody in the group, because we're all here to support each other. We're all local businesses, so make sure you're sharing that information and stories, and it continues after tonight. So thanks so much, Harry. We spoke a little bit about that as well, about actually perhaps swap you connecting with yourself as far as deliveries go as well. So we should.
Absolutely. And, you know, basically being able to collaborate with like-minded sort of startups is really what this is about. And I think there's definitely synergies there in relation to that last mile delivery sector, which is, you know, the key at the moment, particularly with the current environment and consumer behaviour and obviously the impacts of COVID. So any synergies to collaborate and connect with like-minded is definitely what we're about.
Cool.
Awesome.
And who is everybody getting me there? Great. Ian and Tony.
Hi, can you hear us?
Ian and Tony dropped out there.
So we're here now?
Yes.
Fantastic. Hi. Hey, how you doing, everyone? We'll just share a screen right here. So set up. Can you see that? There we go.
There we
how are
go.
we looking? Is that right?
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yeah, starting to load there. It shouldn't be long.
Awesome. So we've developed. There's a problem with solar panels. We'll start with the problem. We've developed a solution for a problem that has plagued the solar industry for the entire time that solar's been around. Essentially, when you put solar panels in an array like you're seeing in solar farms or any array at all, you're essentially leaving a lot of power in the panel because of the way the solar connects to each other. Electrically, it keeps some of the power in the panel because it forces the voltage to a single voltage, and you have to try and extract the power out using the maximum that you can, like a maximum power point tracker. So what we've developed is we've developed a way that essentially gets all of the power out of the panels. It's the first time that this has been developed worldwide, and there are about 6 patents on this thing. So what we're, patent pending. So we firstly created this, which is a comms unit, and we've secondly created this, which is a solar panel
Power controller.
Power controller, sorry. What this means for solar farms is essentially this adds around anywhere from 5% to 25% extra power on the output. And on top of that, it adds a safety factor in that currently isn't available on solar. So on all solar panels across the world, you can't really switch them off. Once you've got them on, if you've got sun on that, it becomes a system. Now you can disconnect it with what they call a DC isolator or a PV isolator. But what happens is you still, if you had a rat chew through one of your wires and that rat then connected to your roof, then that roof would become live. We've talked to the Electrical Safety Board about this, and they've invited us to change the standard, the electrical standard, to suit this because they think it's a fantastic product. Now, essentially, what we're seeing is as panels degrade over time, this is what a solar farm kilowatt hour looks like. You're seeing the first year you don't get a lot of power, but by the time you're up to 20 years into the lifespan of the solar farm, you've then got a significant amount of extra power from this. It's been designed by utilities, like to be utilities grade, and is designed for solar farms. So it can go everywhere from the very, very top solar farms all the way down to a single solar panel. Essentially, there's a range of other things that go along with this, but we can probably only cover like the tiniest amount of what we're doing here. But in this here, you're seeing that there's maybe, so we have about 4 panels there, and you can see the lowest panel there is actually dragging down the rest of the power. And we can go through and answer all these questions later, but essentially it's adding about 25% extra to the entire situation.
Just back on another slide there. Was this one? This one? This one.
Yeah.
Double click. Down here?
Yeah. Oh.
This one?
Yeah.
What we're doing is adding about 25% more power to a solar farm and increasing the net return on investment by 3 to 5%. That seems a bit unbelievable, but 5% we're actually going to do a lot better than that in most solar farms. Which way to go here? What we do is let's look.
This is the first thing in the world that actually can detect individual broken panels within a solar string. So you can actually detect where a solar panel is broken and just replace it. Solar farms at the moment are flying over drones with infrared cameras to try and detect which panels are broken, because one broken panel in the entire string takes down your power significantly.
Infrared detection is a very bad way of doing it. You don't find the whole problem. You find a small percentage of panels using that technique. So solar farms are hurting really badly because they don't find all the problems within their array. There are a few extra things we can do. We can design with overhead transmission lines, saving millions of dollars in the initial cost. We can use staff during the day because we can switch things off, and we can claim warranty on broken panels. Now this might not seem a problem, but no panel in the world is replaced by panel manufacturers on performance warranty. No panel is ever replaced by manufacturers on performance warranty. Reason being, because no one has the data. No one can get the data, and no one can prove to them it's broken. So we can, and we'll be enforcing that in solar farms.
And this is the first in the world that can collect the data at that level. So I think we might. Are we over time? Are we looking a bit time?
Do you want to continue that, Nick?
Yeah, a couple more minutes. Keep going.
Okay.
It seems really interesting. So
this is the box of tricks, which is here. That is a little box of tricks. You can see with relation to a hand, it's fairly small. That's the bit that fits underneath the panel. It's IP68 water resistant, suitable for over-the-sea solar farms. That might not sound a biggie in Australia, but in Taiwan, a very large solar company has just purchased all the airspace over all the rivers and estuaries. and they're going to put solar panels on all the rivers and estuaries in Taiwan. Now they're looking at this product, and we're due to do a test in Taiwan as soon as we can travel. We're looking at very big numbers, millions of these things to supply just to the Taiwan market.
Wow.
It's got CQSola.to safety certificates or safety rating designed to CQSola.to. So many people don't know what CQSola.to is, but it's a mining safety integrity level. It means that 2 devices have to fail, or 2 systems have to fail, for there to produce an unsafe situation. Let's go to the next slide. This is how it basically connects up. The top diagram at the top here is basically how it's connected at the moment. Our devices just plug in. They just plug into an existing array. There's no fuss. They just plug in. So it's very easy to fit. We generally solar farms. We can give 4 to 5 year estimated payback period, 3 to 5% increased return on investment, and we're looking at leasing options too, because some of the big players are looking at leasing this equipment. The equipment comes with 2 parts to it. One is the hardware, and one is the data. Tony is a data specialist, and we'll have solar farms will have access to all the data on all the panels at 1 second intervals all the time. So we'll be able to tell them within a minute or so where things are a problem. No flying drones, no walking around. We know exactly where the problem is and what it is. This gives a net cash graph of a typical solar farm. Green line says without CQ solar equipment. The brown line, the dark brown line is without CQ solar equipment. The light brown line is with CQ solar equipment, and the green line is the cash increase. So after they're being paid back, the cash increase is really goes quite high. This is a best case scenario. There are in Australia, the cash flow position of solar farms is really bad. We do modelling of solar farms, and there are new solar farms in Australia that as soon as they hit the 5-year mark, are going to run out of money. Basically because their income just won't support their repairs.
So yeah, so that pretty much concludes it. But you can see the problems that we're facing. There's quite a lot of them. Yeah, stop that. So yeah, sorry we had to rush that. There's usually about 15 to 20 minutes of just going through the problems. So I hope we didn't rush it too quickly, and you roughly get the gist of what we're trying to do here.
No, yeah, that's really, no, we totally get it. It's very interesting. I just got a question myself. Do you guys own the IP for the?
Definitely do. Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
Wow, it's
so
great.
This circuit board, we don't actually have one to show you, but they're all actually out there.
This circuit board was developed in this room.
We have the blank one here.
The blank one developed. Whole product was developed in this room. 3D printed on my kitchen table. All the enclosures were 3D printed, and the circuit boards I got made external. I got the circuit board, the bare circuit board. This is a bare circuit board made externally, and I put all the components on it.
So so the design of this circuit board, everything was done in this room. All the component selection was done in this room. We've had all the server infrastructure for the cloud. That's my specialty. And
all the software for this, because there's thousands and thousands of lines of very difficult software.
Yeah. So essentially, we've done this in about 4 years. It's taken quite a long time to develop, but yeah, this is the end result that we've got.
Wow, another success story from Logan. Wow, that's a big one. That's a huge one. Let's go over to our judges. So let's start with Amanda. Can we start with you?
Hey, well done. I've actually worked a fair bit in energy, including renewables and solar. So when you started, I was pretty excited actually to hear about it. I think the world is your oyster. Queensland has a great amount of solar. I think we're known for it. We've got lots of world experts. I think you're going to be on the world stage as well. My question to you is in terms of going forward, how you might, if you're going to continue with the same name, or I don't know where CQ comes from. In my head, I was immediately thinking Central Queensland, but I sense that is not appropriate from here in Logan.
It comes from the company that owns the IP, and that's my company. And it's been around for a very long time, since 1994. And it's Comtech Australia Proprietary Limited is that company. And this comes from Comtech Quality Solar.
So it is, yeah. We had quite a lot of discussion about the name. This is like we will go forward with this name so far, unless we have a sudden change of heart, but it doesn't seem like we will. So.
Great, cool. Okay. All right, let's go with Ashley. Ashley.
Hi. Okay, so amazing presentation. I thought it was so fascinating, and I've lately been getting really into kind of the minutiae around solar, because there are, like, while it's a great kind of like potential technology, there are actually a lot of problems with it at scale on solar farms, like faulty panels and things like that. So I think like your solution is so awesome and so needed. So from a technical standpoint, that's like amazing. I think a lot of people see solar farms, it's like, oh yeah, you just put it out there and it collects sunlight and that's all the maintenance you need. But the maintenance costs with solar farms are insane. So I think this is awesome. I didn't know that about the infrared drones. That's really cool. It's not cool that it's not working, but yeah. So my question, if I can be really annoying, I've got two kind of main questions. So you said you own all the IP. I'm kind of and you said that there aren't any kind of current ways of collecting this data. I'm wondering what's the competitive landscape. Maybe there aren't any technologies using this particular approach to the monitoring, but are there anything else? Is there anything else out there? Because yeah, you're right, there's a huge opportunity, and I'm just wondering.
There are two big companies. One is SolarEdge. It's from Israel. They've been around since the 1990s, and they supply domestic and small commercial. They do not supply solar farms. We also have Tego, which is a partial optimizer, doesn't work anything like ours. And it is unsuitable for solar farms, completely unsuitable. It's only for domestic. So this is the first product in the world for solar farms, built for solar farms, that actually solves their problems.
Just following up, why do you think that is? Why do you think it's like, and this is a genuine question, like sometimes there's just like particular reasons.
It's a little like asking, why isn't there an automated car out there? We have motors, we have the circuitry, what are we missing? And the question is that we're missing the software, we're missing the development. So if someone came up with the software tomorrow that you could plug into an automated car, it'd work. But right now they're missing that. We've discovered what that missing part was in the solar side of things, and that's the subject of the 6 patents pending at the moment.
That's awesome.
So the thing is, just one little thing. This controller, this power controller, fits on the panel. It does everything. It manages the entire panel by itself. Every other panel, every other product in the world requires a portion of the inverter hardware and software to manage the string as well. So the box under the panel is only an addition to try to optimize the bad performance of the box on the wall.
Yeah.
Right. Both Tego and SolarEdge do that. This doesn't need a box on the wall to manage the panel. It needs a box on the wall to convert it from the DC current of the panel to the line, but it does not need a box on the wall to control a panel.
Yeah, and that kind of flows on to just my next question, which is about kind of the business model around, you mentioned that there's, you know, the hardware sales component and the software, and I'm just a little bit curious as to how you're planning on like balancing those two out, because by the sounds of it, yeah, there's going to be a fair bit of hardware per farm.
That's Tony's question, I think.
Well, the hardware essentially will pay for itself, because we're getting, like we said, anywhere from 5 to 25% uptick in revenue, or not just revenue, but the output of the panels, because at the moment that's how much power is being left in the panels, and it's just being left as heat, so it ends up heating up. As far as monetizing the two, we're just going to have two separate products essentially. We're not going to do a hardware as a service or anything like that. It's just they'll purchase that initially, and they'll get a first free year of data, or they'll get the first certain amount of data. And if they find value in that, then there'll be a subscription that they can sign up for that, and they can continue to play through that. Because what we're finding is once you see how much data this is getting, we can start using artificial intelligence to actually completely manage the farm. So you can get it to the point of saying, well, that panel's broken, and we're kind of, and that cable's broken, and you can just say exactly what's happening at any point in time. And when a panel goes down, it doesn't necessarily take out the entire string anymore.
Yeah.
So you're keeping power on for more of the time, and you then can sell the data to repair it.
One thing about one of the big problems about data is generally it's very poor quality. So it's captured and then sent over the internet. If the internet comms drops out, then you lose your data. The comms unit doesn't do that. It stores it locally. It compresses the data, stores it locally, and sends it to the cloud whenever the opportunity arises. We have enough storage on the comms unit to store all the data for the entire string it's connected to for its entire life.
So it's a 25
years. So all the data, we never have to erase the data. It's always there. It goes to the cloud whenever possible. So it can be used with low orbit satellites where they're only visible for 20 minutes every hour. And
yeah, that sounds awesome, guys. Thanks for that.
Let me jump in there, because we've got one more judge to get to. Raphael, fire away.
Hi, guys. It's a really amazing product. I think a lot of the questions that I had have been asked and answered, so thank you. I guess the only other thing I have is, what do you need?
Well,
we need a tester. We need a friendly customer to put this in as a test. That's where we're at. We actually have 2 lined up overseas, but due to COVID, it's really stopped us from doing anything. So
we've got 2 very large energy companies lined up, one in Britain and one in Taiwan. We're looking for a friendly solar farm operator owner in preferably southeast Queensland that will be willing to put our test rig on, and we can demonstrate this thing working.
Great. So that's definitely a question where we can reach out to Paulette and Justin to help us get that connected, because I know that we've already lost one of the greatest inventors as far as solar energy goes in Australia. We lost them to China not too long ago. So we're here to support you in any way we can. We're only little fish, but yeah, definitely want to support you, Ian and Tony. Great story. I'm really going to be following you guys closely, because that's it's quite an innovation you guys have. Okay, so let's get on now to Alf. Hi, Alf. I've been eyeing off your car in the background there, mate. That is a beautiful looking red four-wheel drive you got there. So this is Alf from ProTubs. Alf, can you introduce us to your team there, please, mate?
Yeah, I'll get Darren to start that. So he's quite keen to be on. So yeah, I'll jump out of the way for a sec.
Off you go, Darren.
Thank you. Yeah, g'day. I'm Darren. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present to you all.
I also am a fellow industrial designer, like a few of the other panelists here. So nice to meet some more people there. I'm part of the team here at ProTubs. Now, what we're looking to do, it's not so much trying to solve a problem. I've been fortunate enough to be in the manufacturing industry for the last 35 years in both the design and manufacturing in both low scale and high volume there. Now, over that time, I've always felt it's a responsibility of us people in operations to cover a few key factors, and that is to always look at ways we can reduce waste. Always look at bringing our young people through. There's always looking at the apprenticeships, but also just training young people and getting them into the careers, as well as making sure you're using your local network of suppliers to keep everything local. Now, in the current situation with the current COVID, I think that's just more and more important, particularly as we talk about jobs for the young people, as well as using our local suppliers. So over that time, I've been quite fortunate. I've met a lot of similar, like-minded business owners and managers like myself, and I was fortunate enough to catch up with both Wayne and Longy, and we had sort of similar thoughts. As part of that, I'll get Longy to explain one of the ideas he'd come up with, and when he explained it to us, from my point of view, it sort of ticked quite a number of the boxes that I think we're responsible for. So I'll chuck over to yourself here, mate, and you can explain your stuff.
Hi, Long. I'm obviously the sort of half a brand behind it. I had been in the industry for a lot of years, probably about 30 years now. I look quite young, yes, but I'm quite old. A lot of my peers and colleagues, they have what we have here in the back. In my industry, in the automotive industry, they have the tub, hence the word ProTub. I see that sort of in the background as rubbish. I see a lot of records have them as rubbish, and I see a lot of land filled up with these particular tubs as sitting there doing absolute nothing. So part of what we do here, I sort of had a thought of utilising the tub. It's all about sort of space. A lot of the people that buy these type of vehicles, the first thing they do is remove the tub to put the aluminium and flat trays and so forth. So once they do that, this becomes waste. So I had an idea of doing what I'm about to show you, I suppose. It's probably the easiest way to do it. So what we'll do is, I would like introduce Wayne as well before I show off the tub. I'm a bit too excited. I'm nervous as far as you can tell, but I don't normally do this. I normally keep down and work. So I'll introduce Wayne. He's my right-hand man, so to speak. And then, I'll pass him over.
Doing great, Long. You're doing great, mate.
Thanks, mate. I don't normally public speak at all, to be honest. But yeah, I'm normally the quite achiever, so.
I'd buy this type of ute as a style side, and first thing, being a tradie myself, is we do remove the tubs and put canopies or aluminium trays to store our tools in and stuff like that. Now, the big problem we have is a lot of the time is security, and obviously the looks. When we change to a canopy or a tray back, we actually lose the style of the car. So the whole idea that Long came up with is basically we're getting toolboxes and storage still in there and keeping the whole style side as well as recycling at the same time. So basically we'll go over and show you sort of how it all works.
Get that cameraman to assist us and bring the camera over.
All right, I'm just going to flick the camera and walk around with the guys.
Cool. Oh, wow. Can you guys do that again for us? Can you guys do that again for us? We just missed that bit. How does that work?
Okay, so underneath here, I'll put a hidden switch in here. So it's an electronic switch that electronically unlocks the tub.
Oh, wow, electronic, wow.
And then behind here, obviously we have compartments, multiple compartments for your door boxes. So we're trying to cater for the recreational industry, camping, and also obviously your trade. So you can put your toolboxes in it, so forth. Try to use the existing space, I suppose, but the key was to use the original tubs. So without throwing it away or sending it to the records and the metal scrap yards, we try to keep that as well as obviously the style. So we scoot it around.
A lot of the wasted space comes from above the wheel arches. So that's where the toolboxes sort of lie. And then you've also got the wasted space between the outer skin of the guards to the inside of the actual tray.
So essentially, you're still retaining that space in the back of the utility. But if you can see, guys, the storage boxes actually built in. So most of them made out of a stainless steel, quite secure as well for tools or any personal belongings. The back side of the skin, as you can see, still lined. Generally, the guys will line them with a type of rhino or raptor lining. So quite hardy wearing, doesn't rust, and will take quite a bit of a beating.
Part of what we're also trying to achieve with the original overall look of the ute. A lot of people are very keen on the sports utility look, as opposed to going for something with a custom built tray or a alloy tray in the back. The other added advantage here is not only does the side box down, you also can individually lock your toolboxes, so you get that little bit of extra security. If someone does decide to break in, they've got 2 lines of locking to get through to get into your possessions there.
It's also out of sight, out of mind as well.
And it looks really freaking cool, man. It's got this like a Mercedes Gullwing effect of the doors raising there. It's really yeah, that's really cool. And that's already a nice looking car. And when that happens, it just sort of, wow. I'll let you go on. Tell us more.
Okay, one of the things, obviously, this is our prototype. So this is something we've been playing around with. We've already come up with other ideas to continue to develop it. One of the things Long was talking about there, we want to actually look at going to the automated gas truck, so you don't actually have to lift it yourself. You effectively just press the button and get the auto rise and close. We'll also be working very closely, being manufacturing gentlemen, is making sure we can try and standardise it and just optimise our internals, our wiring looms, our tubs, and that type of stuff. We've already been speaking to a number of local manufacturers that each supply different components as we go to put it together. We're very much aware that each individual make and model will have its own chassis and then various ranges. Variables that we can tie together from a modular point of view.
Wow. That is looking so, and you can see you see how the electrics are still work. Like, of course they're going to work, but that just adds another. It's all fully functional.
A few ideas we've already put in, so I can speak some USB ports, battery boxes, and stuff like that. We've been looking at from a tradie point of view. We've been looking with some of the main power tool suppliers. We do know a lot of those people now supply their car chargeable chargers for the battery drills and battery things. So that's all stuff we're looking to incorporate into that to help the tradie out. Also putting in water tanks to be self-sufficient. Obviously we've got a pump. So if you have a flat tire, obviously we can pump our own tires back up again. So just trying to keep everything in-house within the tub, and utilising the waste space that's existing, I suppose, is what we're trying to do.
Yeah, so the lads really prepared this proof of concept. So it's very much a touch and feel. So this vehicle will actually drive. It's useful. It actually does work. So so it's kind of modular, ready for whether it's a emergency, whether it's for city council, hint hint, or mobile work. I guess the opportunities for it. It's not just about not just about the look of it. It can be functional or practical as well.
Manufacturing parts to this. We've got standard fabrication where we have to get an old tub and de-skin it, make up the various skeletons, the substructures to make. We've also got the electrical, and as well as just the fitting it out and any other modifications someone requires. So it's not just the local people we're looking to try and employ in one particular area. We're hoping there's a number of different aspects or avenues that they can actually start to pursue with us as we can continue to get this to grow. So that's one of our big things, and that was why I was interested when I met some like-minded people. We have that responsibility as a local business owners to reduce waste, employ local people, and also use local suppliers for all of our equipment. So that's what we think we're going to be able to achieve with this.
Wonderful. I'm going to jump in with a question that one of the judges is going to ask, but I'm going to jump in first. How does it compare price-wise to the other options that somebody might?
Yes. I'm glad you asked that question. So in the market, when we're talking your aftermarket canopies and your tray staff or the recreational sort of industry, looking between say $15,000 to $35,000 to do. We're hoping to keep this sort of below that. The higher end will be about the 15, but we're hoping between 10 to 15. Obviously, everything comes down to cost, and if we can source local minded business to give us a hand to sort of go further with it, I suppose, to find solutions. So when I say we've got it right 100%, there is a lot of work to sort of get it over the line, but we're hoping, yeah, we can find other people that can sort of help us and, you know, create jobs locally and so forth, and sort of, yeah, keep everything in-house, I suppose, is the key.
Yeah, and then again, that also boils back to exactly what we were talking about before, having everything sort of modular with various options. You start out with a base pack, which gets us what we need, and as you mentioned, we can put in water pumps, fuel battery systems, and other bits and pieces, and basically option it up to suit what the actual individual's looking to do, whether they're more tradie based and doing a little bit of weekend away, or whether they're more recreational based and just using it as a bit of run around during the week. We can sort of tailor it to suit what they need, as well as trying to make it as manufacturing efficient as we can with just our modular approach.
Right. Do you guys have anything else to add before I throw over to the judges?
No, not myself. So,
great. Okay.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, really appreciate the opportunity to present to everybody, and thanks for taking out the time to listen to our presentation.
It's incredible. Like, so cool. That looks so cool. I love it. I'm a bit of a car nut, and I love that. Let's go with another person who might be a car nut working
on
for.
That, you're a bit of a car nut. You're a bit of a car nut.
Yeah.
Would you like to place an order?
Get him, Gavin.
Good ask.
I like the Mercedes in the background too there, and the I like the Jeep too. They got a lot of nice toys in there, mate. Looking great. Let's go to Raphael, because Raphael, I know you'll have some questions here.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, guys. It does look fantastic, the work you guys have done to get it to where it's at, and you know, to solve or to look at the problem in a totally different way. You know, I can tell the industrial design kind of angle that's been taken here, which is fantastic to see. One question I did have is, have you explored or talked to people, you know, like potential buyers or people in that you see as their market for this, and gotten their thoughts on it at this point?
I'll help answer that one. Raphael, yes, I'm Al of Vogue Industries, so we do a little bit of vehicle modifications.
Yes.
So we currently have a few clients who are prepared to purchase a proof of concept based on the one that we've just, obviously the lads have built behind us.
Yeah.
So we have those, and we believe, you know, doing a little bit of marketing, potentially going to shows, and you know, hopefully that might gain a bit more traction.
Yep.
As far as moving it into more industrial, you know, whether it be a manufacturer of canopies or bodies, stuff like that, that's probably, I think, the next step for the lads, to have a bit of a connection to that, or to somewhere, you know, to manufacture on a grander scale, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And actually, that was my follow-up question is, it's good to know that, I mean, I assume that, you know, with some of the customers that you have, you would have shown this and gotten feedback, which is good. The second question is, how do you see it if we have on the one end a bespoke product solution, on the other end a mass manufactured kind of solution? This doesn't sit in either end, but whereabouts on that spectrum do you think it sits in terms of having enough things that can be produced at scale and in quantity, or would each vehicle and each solution have to be designed, you know, bespoke or tailored to the product that you see, the vehicle in this case?
That's where we're aiming for the modular side of things. So with the toolboxes and that, they'd be universal between all different models. And then it could be customized from there if they want it bespoke. So.
Okay. Yeah, where I see we have each individual model, exactly as Wayne says, each individual model has a couple of key points, be it the chassis rails, the height of the deck up to the back of the headboard, and position of the sides. So we know from a bespoke point of view, I'm going to have to look at each model and work out those particular variables, but I'm hoping that each one of those variables will actually allow for more of a modular approach, because it will effectively be a similar formula on how you put that model together. So yeah, it's sort of right in the middle of what you're saying. We have to have a little bit of a bespoke to begin with, but I'm hoping with our manufacturing experience, we can sort of streamline that and have enough modular parts with just that little bit of particular model specification to actually allow us to do what we need to do without having to make each one bespoke, which is where, unfortunately, your costs will go up.
Exactly.
We can then actually get the manufacturing costs down to, you know, streamline as best we can wherever possible for the most common elements.
Great.
And even more down to, as Long was saying there, you know, we start to work out, you get your wiring looms already pre-wired and stuff like that. So even the little sub-assemblies become just common elements, even with bespoke.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. Awesome.
Okay, let's go to Amanda.
I just loved that presentation. I was there with you. I'm not a car nut at all, so unlike Nick, but I could be a car nut having actually watched that. It's very shiny red, but I just love the passion. There was a sense of drama and theatre to it, and I think that is going to work really well. I love the fact that it just pops up and we're all kind of there, and I really like the camera work. So really well done. I think that's the basis for some sort of excellent salesmanship. I had, like Raphael, had some questions around that scalability. It looks like it's a lot of work to do one by one, and so I think you've sort of answered a lot of those. My sense is it kind of going to be a process where you start with this sort of bespoke and then over time move to a scalability with a modular design, and then actually, even though, you know, we definitely love jobs and want jobs in Logan, is that something where there might be a revenue model where some of the workmanship could be done anywhere in Australia based on your design and based on some kind of a model where people are able to do it under your guidance or license? I'm not sure.
It could. Yeah, well, that was actually one of the things we spent a bit of time together putting this together, and that was one of the things we were discussing. And one of the thoughts we're hoping to get to is, obviously, it's a fairly big unit. From a freight point of view, you ship a lot of air if you had to pack that up as it was. So one of the options would be, you know, keep the manufacturing centralised where you can control it, but actually flat pack it. So, as you say, in some more other parts of the country, then someone might be able to just do the final assembly of everything that is completely put together. So, you know, the wiring harness are attached. They just have to clip them together. Just have to attach the sides to the appropriate hinges that we've got, but we can actually flat pack it in a cheaper and more effective way to help keep the cost down. But yeah, can still control the manufacturing side of things.
Yeah, I think I was in my head trying to figure out the size of the market and whether it would, if without that, it'd end up being a drive market of, you know, just SEQ and you become a bit of a destination. I think, you know, well done. I think you did an excellent job.
Yeah, it's an incredible product. Ashley, let's go to you. What do you think?
I'm kind of the same as Amanda. I'm not much of a car nut, but I was like placing myself in the shoes of someone who was, and it looked really cool. I will admit that. Like, I'm coming from the perspective of someone who has like a 20-year-old Mazda with crank windows. So I was really admiring. I'm like, that's really nice for someone who is into cars. So Amanda and Raphael asked some great questions, and they were kind of around the same area that I was thinking, and I don't think I would have much like industry insight. So I think I would just love to know kind of, again, yeah, what for you guys, I suppose, was your motivation behind this from the initial starting it, and because of that, what do you see as like kind of your long-term mission for the company? Like, is this something like they've said that if you want to keep it bespoke, you want to keep it small, or like what is like literally like 10-year kind of dream goal for it? Obviously not like high level, but I'm just kind of, yeah, interested in getting a gauge on what your driving force behind this is.
Yeah, for myself, it was actually seeing a lot of my colleagues throwing the tubs away. Actually, they have it sort of discarded in the back of their workshop or their yard. I just saw wasted metal, wasted just pollution and rubbish. I thought, you know what, I can turn the rubbish into something that can be useful. And again, same thing. I like camping. I like the recreational side of things. and I've just worked out that not a lot of people utilize what comes with the vehicle. So I don't know why the manufacturers don't sell it without it, because in Australia the trend is to remove the tubs. That's the first thing they do and get a tow bar. But yeah, that's probably the driving force behind it, trying to utilize what comes from factory. And obviously my next phase in life is trying to create a bit more local work, because we've been working with the local council, a few other things, and I thought trying to give back to the community and get all the young people back into getting physical jobs. But obviously I need to sort of think of something or invent something for them to produce.
From a kind of business perspective, sorry, just following up on that, could you ever see yourself maybe like partnering with an existing manufacturer or taking that route?
Yeah, sure, certainly. Like I said, I mean, this is the first. It was an idea I had in my mind, and I started getting an angle grinder out and sort of cutting it, and had a lot of flack and so forth. But yeah, like I said, there's a lot of people out there, a lot of designers that can design a lot better than myself. So I need a lot of help with that. It's definitely not a finished product. There's probably better solutions for the locking mechanism. Just like I said, I think Darren mentioned about having it sort of electrically motion working instead of being a manual pull up by hand. Never ends, I suppose, but definitely I'm happy to sort of work with other businesses that can help move this moving forward, and say it's come locally from Logan, I suppose.
Yeah, it's so great. I love it. You know, I think it's really cool. One thing though, I've got a question about the tub itself. So do you lose a lot of space in the tub, and would that inhibit any of the uses that a person who would normally buy a work vehicle?
Okay. Yes, I can answer that. So technically, the space that we're using is actually above the wheel arch. So if you're familiar with the tubs themselves, above the wheel arch, and that space front of it and back of it, that's what we've utilized. So we haven't made it any smaller. So the physical width of it is the standard width where you can fit your standard drawbars. So it's 1 meter long, and we can make it up to about 1100. So technically we've gained space by utilizing the area in front and behind of the actual wheel arch.
Right. So that's, people normally wouldn't put long items in there, for example. So they might transfer, you know, you never see anybody transfer soil in the back of their ute anyway. So the volume size wouldn't really be affected in a useful way. You know, they don't use the sides is basically, do they?
Yeah, it's usually a wasted sort of space.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Our version 2 technically being modulated, you can literally detach the 2 sides in the all your gates and your panels, and becomes a flatbed. So you've got that extra wide standard flat tray like you see all day, every day.
Yeah, and the big thing as well, for, you know, being a car nut and loving the four-wheel drives as well, everybody has a different four-wheel drive. Everyone likes to do something different with theirs, and this is something which is so different. You know, everyone's got something different happening, and this is the specialist. This is where this really fits in a functional way, but also in that other, and just the style and the fact that it's individual.
Yes, that's what we're hoping. Everyone wants to be that little bit different.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And this is so different. I love it. Okay, boys. We might head off to. Can I ask you guys to put all your details into the chat bar, so we might be able to get in touch with you afterwards. And anyone watching can get in touch as well, because we want to hear about what's happening, what's coming up next, because you know, if you guys can create that, I can imagine what's coming next. I reckon it's going to be cool. All right, wonderful.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Guys. Good job. Excellent. Okay, let's go to, let me get out of there. Let's go to our next guys, and that is Simon. Simon, how are you?
Good, thank you. Allow me to share the screen just so you don't have to look at my ugly mug. Here we go. There we go. So look, I've got to start by saying how blown away I am just to be among minds who are thinking the way they are and so differently. It's fantastic. And I really look forward to telling all your stories over the next over the next period of time. I want to start by saying I think everybody has a fundamental right to basic information, and that's from a trusted source. And in the past 6 months, that right's really been stolen away from the Logan community, and as it has across 270 communities across the country where newspapers have closed. And look, information's being hidden behind paywalls, and events are hard to find, and the community voice is just becoming so much harder to hear. For 100 years, we editors across the country sort of, I guess, put what they thought people wanted to know on the front page of their newspaper, and when they were in doubt, they kind of threw the interest rates on the front page, and everybody was bored. I was going to say something rude then, but bored by that, and analytics have helped us change that. But My City Logan, yeah, we want to launch a new service in Logan, and throughout the local government area, a newspaper, a website, social media, shopping. But experience tells me that those who succeed best, and I was editor at Brisbane Times for a period of time, but those who succeed best are those who know their audience best. And so we want to build the most engaged audience in our area, and not because we build it and they will come. That's not how we're thinking. We're building it so that we can understand our community like nobody else in the market. So what we're doing is we're developing a really complex artificial intelligence system which will provide us with the critical data to help best understand our audience and also what they want. So what we'll do out of that is provide our audience with a deeper, richer and more authentic experience to a news service, which I don't think has been done very well in a local area, possibly ever. But we'll know what matters. We'll certainly know more about what makes our people tick, or our readers tick, and what we have the capability to do. We want to build capacity for our audience to speak up, and we want to be in a position to tell stories in a way that we think people are willing to consume them. That's the challenge. We'll take up that challenge to tackle topics that others just don't, because they think that they're not worthy. They think that, oh, if people are not reading this stuff, so we want to tell those stories in a way that's going to connect. And there are smaller players in the market, and there will continue to be small players in the market, but our intel and experience won't be beaten, and we want to dominate this market, similar to the way that News Limited did previously. We have a personalised approach to our advertising, so we believe not one size fits all, and our motto is really reach before revenue. We want to make sure we're hitting as many people as we possibly can by knowing our audience, and our team has more than 50 years of experience, 50 years of journalism experience to be able to do that. We're building a team. We're building. Stuart Fleming, many of you know, as the President of Chamber of Commerce, is part of this project. We're developing a board of advisors who are gleaned from the business community, or leaders in the business community and leaders in our community sector. So we want to partner with Griffith University for them to help us develop this complex system of data and analytics. And I think, really importantly, can be a player in the economic recovery post-COVID. So, and no market without a newspaper is safe when it comes to recovery from that, from where we've been. So I'm here today to, a little cheeky, I guess, is to pitch to Logan City Council, because we believe that they need to be part of this journey, and we want Logan City Council to take a package, an advertising type package with us, and to support our mission. And the return on investment, all I can say is it's not just immeasurable to Logan City Council, but it's immeasurable to the community to whom we all serve. So I thank you for listening to my pitch today. As I say, I'm blown away by the company I'm in. I'm really feel really privileged, and I hope to come and tell all your stories very soon. So thanks for your time.
Thanks, Simon. I did a horrible introduction to you there. I should have told everybody a little bit about you before you started. So my apologies for that. I have a question for you. So when you're looking at the analytics and the sorry, mate, you right?
How do I get out of the share?
Just hit. So yeah, there you go, and
Thank
just
you. Sorry.
Yeah, and it should say stop share up the top there. How's that?
Thank you very much.
Cool. So with the data, you spoke there a lot about the data, the analytics. How is that collected, and what's that used for as far as community goes? Because I'd like to hear some more about that if you could tell us.
Absolutely. I mean, communities are made up of obviously sub-communities. So the better that we know each of those sub-communities, and a couple of types, there's communities of interest, but also geographical communities. So the more that we know about those communities, the easier it is for us to target those communities and tell the stories that they want to hear. So we'll do that through heat mapping, word searching, looking at the depth of the depth that they read into those stories, being able to analyse those characteristics and habits, so that those behavioural traits of our readers. So being able to understand that helps us put our news in a space that is a lot more consumable than it was before in traditional methods.
Right. Brad Apps from Logan Angels and EC Connect has got a question in there. I mean, I personally agree with him, a good news channel, like to focus on the good news, because sometimes the data that you do get fed back is that people are reading the bad news, but maybe that's because that's what they're being fed. Perhaps there's a positive slant that can come from a paper like yours.
It's a very good question, and I've just spent 3 years at Ipswich City Council doing exactly that, developing Australia's first council-owned news stream. And what we did was we focused very heavily on the good news, because for those of you who know the history of that council, similar to Logan, I guess, we certainly needed to separate the politics from the operational matters, which were telling a good story. So we managed to do that there, and I certainly carry some of that forward. But what we also found was that there was a lot wrong with that. In that there were problems with equity, there were problems with being able to provide a commercial service. There were a number of issues that sat within that, I guess, government-owned space. So
great. Yeah, it's very true. But it's interesting how you can use data for, in the right hands, it can do good things. Let's go to Amanda. And judges, if you wouldn't mind, please sending through on our WhatsApp channel, if you could send through your winners, please, for tonight, and we can get that going. But before we do, let's go to Amanda. Amanda, tell us what you think about My City Logan.
Look, Simon is very humble, actually, about his background. He's a bit of a journalistic legend, actually. Where he said, I edited Brisbane Times for a little bit. I mean, honestly, you made Brisbane Times into what it was. And so I think we need to recognise that. And I think Brisbane Times has really been a really well-loved news channel. I know that it has a paywall up now, and that's obviously diminished the access that people have. And so, and the downfall of so many publications here in Australia and just globally has certainly changed the information that we get. And so my question to you really is, and some of the online publications have struggled, obviously. My big interest is, what is the revenue model and how do you make it stack up? I'm thinking it's not a pay for view model from what you said.
Looking at a free model, Amanda. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great question, because there are a lot of news products creeping up and being started by journalists, and journalists are great at telling stories. And so when it comes to managing a product, it's a little bit different. And you're right. I mean, we have to get a revenue model that is right. I wrote a paper 12 years ago. I was lucky enough to go to the US and Europe to look at business models of used products. And this is 12 years ago. So a lot has changed since then. But we believed at that time, and no large organisation has been game enough to tackle it, and that is that news organisations need to back themselves. They need to support, they need to have the guts to be able to partner with their advertisers, not just selling them space, not selling them a widget, but saying to them, look, we really want to partner with you. So we want to understand your business well enough that we can actually connect you with our audience. And that's through a number of techniques. So native advertising through to digital advertising and traditional forms of advertising. So being able to come up with a hybrid option for each of those businesses. Now that, I suppose, in itself is a little bit innovative, even though none of it's rocket science. But we're certainly looking at that and an ongoing relationship with those advertisers. So the conversation each week is not come and buy an ad, but the conversation each week is how can we make your business better?
Yeah.
Great. Cool. Okay. Thanks, Simon. Thanks, Amanda. Jess, let's go with you next.
Do you mean Ash?
Sorry, Jess. My bad. Excuse me, Ash. Sorry, I was
That's
just
all
thinking.
good.
Just reading. Sorry, Ash. Excuse me.
I was also my biggest,
Sorry.
well, there's one letter that's the same. My biggest question was also around what Amanda just asked. But I guess then I suppose following up on that, what do you think having like this content approach is going to appeal to people as opposed to like existing news outlets, Facebook, all of those like other ones that people are currently kind of drawn to? Because as unfortunate as it is, sometimes the news that makes us like annoyed and angry can be what's most attractive. So yeah, what exactly is your angle in terms of getting people hooked the way that these other outlets do?
Oh, look, I think there are true tried and tested methods of generating audience, but the difference is being able to throw that audience around a mass product. So I think if we're talking about social media and those niche avenues, you tend to be focusing on niche audiences, whereas we're much more concerned about understanding a mass audience and what makes that tick as a whole. So being able to move that audience into different spaces where they're possibly not as comfortable, but remain interested. So they're coming back to your product week in, week out, and or day in, day out, rather than when they feel like they want to get involved with something. I mean, one of the products that we're looking at, that we're probably looking at prototyping ourselves off the back of, is the likes of AFL.com. They own their market. We want to own the logo market.
Cool.
As an app owner myself, competing with, like everybody does, they compete with. So mine is a marketplace, but I compete with, Facebook and Gumtree as a marketplace. One thing that I focus on a lot is the user experience, because I want it to be sticky in a way. I want it to draw people back, and not just out of just because we find news on Facebook, we find certain things on eBay. I'd like to provide a different experience. So user experience, perhaps there's something in there within the news market where the experience could be a positive, could be different, that you offer, Simon?
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Nick. I don't know whether that was a question or a statement, but I think
it's a mixture of all.
Both. But you're absolutely right. I mean, it's about finding what interests a group of people, what rallies a community. I mean, what makes a community proud. What Logan has probably struggled with a little bit of identity over the years. So how do we how do we take news and put that in a form which develops community pride? So we're ticking a number of boxes. We're not just ticking the economic box, we're ticking the pride box, we're ticking, and then making people feel wedded to that product in a way that, and you've used the word sticky, so being wedded to that product in a way that they never want to leave. They feel proud about being part of what it is that you're developing, and I think that's what everybody here is trying to do in developing small business. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, true. All right, Raphael, what do you have anything to add there?
No, thank you very much, Simon. You know, I agree with this, the direction, the sentiments you're talking about in terms of media and information in general. You know, I read up a lot I'm intrigued by American politics for a long time, not just because of the recent things, but for a long time, and just, you know, understanding more about how all of that works and functions, even though that's not my background. It is a minefield at the moment, and it's also like a little bit of it's, you know, what's the word that they use in the US, you know, like the cowboys, you know, like things are running amok in terms of information and how that's controlled and managed in different parts of, you know, the internet. I guess my question was around, and maybe because I don't have a background in this, is what do you see as the actual thing you've got about, you know, the algorithm or the thing that drives it and this understanding and gathering information, but then the front end of it, is it a website, is it an app, or is it a plug-in to existing stuff out in the you know, in the infosphere?
No, it's a moderated news service, so that means that yeah, basically, and I suppose there are two different types of news that you can look at. You can look at the stuff that that rich, deep dive journalism, which keeps the bastards honest, if I can use an old phrase, and then there's the nuts and bolts stuff, and that's the stuff that's really gone missing, is because newsrooms are now driven by a pay-click model, so therefore journalists are being asked to create stories which will convert a subscription, and if they do, they get a little tick next to their name. That's the way that newsrooms are operating now, and how does that help communities? And it's certainly not going to help communities, because how does me writing about a fate help, you know, tick over a subscription? It doesn't. So I guess there's a little bit of old-fashioned, back to grassroots type stuff in there, but there's also a little bit of modern understanding how the community works type stuff. So I'm not sure if I've entirely answered your question, Raphael, but I think I think there's really a hybrid approach to the way that we approach our news, and the better we understand our audience, the better we'll be able to click it. I mean, Brisbane Times, we did 20 million page views a month with 16 people in our newsroom. The Courier Mail did less than that with 300. It's possible.
Yep. Awesome.
Yeah, it's a huge problem that you're solving, Simon, because, you know, we want to get people to be more educated and to have the full view of things, and, you know, getting that through such a noisy market is a challenge. But yeah, you've got the right feeling, and starting local as you're doing is a great way to know your market. So great work there. Great work there, from my opinion. All right, so we're getting right to the end now, and it's time to announce our winner. Raphael, would you mind? I'd just like to sum up, first of all. We had Jessica at the start with Libero. So many horses, when that comes about, Jessica, so many horses are going to be so better off. And that's, you know, that's a great thing. Then we had Ian and Tony from CQSola. Such a huge that's a huge undertaking, guys, and you've managed to find a solution for that. So, you know, I'm definitely following you guys for sure. We had Alf and Long and his team. You've moved into a new place, mate, and now there's even better cars behind you. This is just unreal. Tell I'm But your ProTubs is just, you know, that's innovative, and above all, it's, in my opinion, it's cool. So cool there. We had Harry. Harry's telling us about his how he's gone with his electric vehicles, progressing really well. Harry has had a bit of a brand shift, so great work there, Harry. Thank you. And Simon as well, My City Logan, taking on a huge problem and solving it, working towards solving it. So I'm a bit blown away, to be honest. This is really cool. You guys are really, there's some big things happening, and I'm proud to be a Logan person, and yeah, huge. Raphael, if I could hand it over to you.
No, thank you very much, Nick. I think you did a wonderful job of summarizing everyone's presentations, and also I'd like to say personally as well, thank you to everyone. All of the presenters, there really is outstanding work across the board, especially, you know, representing and being part of the City of Logan. It is a testament to the work that's happening in the city. Without further ado, I think we all agreed to congratulate CQSola for being the winner for today. Well done, congratulations. Like I said,
thanks guys.
Thanks guys.
Well done. No, congratulations. Just beating out, I think everyone did an amazing job. So I don't know whether we go into detail here in terms of some feedback, but congratulations, CQSola, at this point.
Yeah, it was really, there was so much innovation. I think that was the thing between the only difference, as the judges were discussing in the back, between you guys was scale. Actually, as far as innovation goes, you know, you can imagine there's so much happening there, but yeah, the scale, the possibilities of what CQSola is doing. The creativity is from ProTubs was huge, and the possibilities from Libero is massive. And Simon from My City Logan, you know, I'm getting onto that. I'm going to subscribe because I want to help out and you know, get people hearing positive stories. So don't forget as well, if you have been pitching tonight. This is all recorded, so you can grab the video office and you can take cuts out and you can use it for your own promos. So please do that. As well, take some screenshots. You know, when you get the recording, make sure you're using it, posting it in your social channels, because this is a great way to get your story out there. It's pre-made material for the people who are posted. It's pre-made content. It's an asset that you can use later on. So definitely do that. As well, Ashley, little judge. Sorry, Ashley, we didn't get to you. Monty Compost. You're a bit late.
Oh,
sorry,
no,
Monty,
no. I
sorry.
was just, because I was like booted out at the beginning, so I didn't really do an intro.
Tell us quick. Tell us about yourself, quick, because we didn't get to meet you at the start.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. So yeah, Monty Compost Co. We're creating a compost monitoring device. So it's basically just like a little IoT device. You put it in your compost. It connects to our mobile platform where we run analysis on all the decomposition data that it generates, and then it's just gives you really simple instructions on how to manage it. We actually, like I said, just did our first initial launch of the product, which was pretty exciting. So if anyone's a composter or ever wants to talk about like compost or waste or sustainability, just hit me up. I'm like the resident compost girl.
Great. Everyone needs one. Every community.
Everyone
I've always
definitely
been saying,
needs
where's our compost girl? And there's the question. There's the question answer. But actually, I do have some connections with some. So I put my email in the chat bar there. So I've got some connections with some people who are doing something similar, garden bed monitoring for community gardens. So drop us a line there.
Amazing.
So Yes, but please don't forget, access this recording. Justin or Paulette will be able to help you with that, and use this as a way of sharing everything. And as our third only pitch night, you know, I can't wait to hear from you guys again next time. We want to catch up. We want to hear your story and where you're going to next, because this is exciting that it's all local. So I'm really enjoying this. Does anybody have anything else to add before we go?
I do. I want to thank you, Nick, for your giving us your time. I know how busy you are as a startup yourself, as a founder.
This is fun.
You've had a very busy day. We've had a lot of challenges with technology, but that does not matter. I want to thank the judges, and I want to thank everybody that attended. I want to thank the startups. You're all amazing, and you're all have fantastic ideas. And Justin and I promise that we will stay in touch, and we would like to make sure that we keep you connected to all the right people that will progress your journey. So thank you, judges. You're fantastic. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Sasha. It takes a lot of work to bring all this together. I also want to say a special thanks to Justin for pulling this together. He works very, very hard behind the scenes and liaises with everybody to bring all this. It doesn't all just happen. It takes a lot of work. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Wonderful. Great, everybody. Off for dinner now, and we'll see you next time. Such a great night. Really good.
Thank you so
Excellent.
much for having me. You all did amazing.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank you very
everyone.
much for having me.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
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 Night.